Welcome to the Education Exchange. I'm your host, Jeremy Calles, Superintendent here at the Tolleson Union High School District. I got a couple of repeat guests on here today, Ken and Gabe. We're going to talk about the new high school. So first, introduce yourselves to the audience.
My name is Ken Hicks. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for the Tolleson Union High School District.
I'm Gabriel Martinez, Director of Facilities.
All right, so let's start talking about the new high school. High school number 8.
The Ocho.
Got any names going yet? Anybody got a good idea? Like, what are we going to call this new high school? What are you guys throwing out there? Like, if we're going to put something out to a vote, but you guys had the scepter and the control. What are you naming this new high school?
I haven't even thought about it.
Yeah, I have thought about it. I normally pick a mountain range somewhere around and find out what some of the peaks are. And
so Estrella Mountains?
I don't want to duplicate. I don't know. Isn't there some kind of Vulture Mountain or some kind of, I don't know.
Vulture Mountain High School. All right. Yeah. We'll have vultures as mascots. Gabe, what are you thinking? If
I couldn't even think of it. School number 8 for us, right?
All right. High School 8. High School 8 is going to be the name, according to Gabe. All right. So we got this new high school.
8 is great.
Let's get people acquainted with where it's at. So what is the location for this new high school?
Dysart and Broadway.
All right.
The southeast corner.
Southeast corner.
Dysart and Broadway.
Now, for those who aren't familiar with the area, what do we have all around the new high school? What does the layout look like of the land?
Just homes right now.
A lot of homes.
Yeah.
Homes, and more homes.
Yes.
Completed homes.
Building
homes that'll be homes. So we have homes that are already completed.
Yeah.
We have homes that are being built, and we have homes that will be built sometime in the future.
Past, present, and future. We have
all
all
right.
3 in there.
Not only construction on homes, but let's talk about access. State Route 30 is less than a mile.
South. Yep.
Yeah, less than a mile south of the new high school complex. That's probably a few years out. Of course, so are we. So let's talk timeline. What is the hopeful goal of when we're opening the doors to this brand new high school?
Well, I'll go just a little bit more with some of ours now that we have a JC on board. We're looking to probably finish a lot of our construction docks, I want to say fall. Mm-hmm. And so hopefully we'll be digging in the ground either November, December, breaking ground and starting the construction, moving dirt. And then by August of 2027, we will be open for our first students.
All right. And those first students will be?
Freshmen and sophomore.
Freshmen and sophomore, getting ready for August of 2027. Now, picture the high school already done. I know you guys have seen some initial design work. What is the first view? So even though the building's not up yet, but you're picturing it off design, what is going to be the first view where you're like, I want to see how that view looks like in real life?
Interesting. There are so many aspects that we're still in design stage, so nothing's been finalized, and we're getting so much input from community members, from our staff, from students. It's amazing the amount of input that's going on. So I do think it's all going to change, but I've seen some with some nice tunnel looks. So to be looking at a rounded building with going under the building, to
Definitely
me,
not traditional on that.
Yeah, nothing is traditional on this building right now. In full design, not a lot of square rectangle buildings in a nice symmetrical alignment. Everything's a little moved around and different and looking more future focused and innovative.
All right. I'm going to tell you my money shot before we even finish designs. Standing in that football stadium, looking out the window towards the Estrella Mountains. I think that's going to end up being my money shot. But we'll see. We'll see when it all comes to fruition where that money shot ends up
when
landing.
You said staying in that football stadium?
In the football stadium, looking out to the Estrellas.
Okay. It has a lot of amazing design features right now, just how we're looking, where we're putting the fields, where we're putting the football stadium, where the buildings are going and how that is. I think there's going to be multiple views and money shots that are going to really wow people.
Now, prices on everything have been all over the board with everything that's happened with tariffs. We're not to GMP yet where we set a guaranteed maximum price, but we will be, at some point soon. What are you thinking? Ken, I know this is probably the thing that keeps you up at night. What do you think is going to be the cost of this beautiful new high school campus that's going to stand there for over 100 years?
Well, so I wouldn't say it keeps me up at night because I cry myself to sleep every night thinking about it. So I get a good night's sleep after all those tears. I'm very thankful that now we're past all the tariff things, now that everything's been settled. And so there's no price instability into the market right now, and everything's really steady and stable. I I don't even want to say a number and put it out there because it would scare me. But I think the latest high school that I heard that was built for about $160 million, we will easily eclipse that.
All right. And you know, like tweets can be going out like in the middle of people listening to this podcast. So things are never all the way over and clear on any topic.
Yes, that is true.
But yes, I Gabe, do you have a number in mind?
Definitely over 200.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm probably in line with Gabe. Where I'm thinking I think we're eclipsing the 200 million mark when things are said and done.
So I do think it is a large number, but I do think we have a lot of a good general contractor and architect, and we looking as a team, we start value engineering things. And so I think initially it'll come in extremely high, and then we'll start coming down to efficiencies and how to kind of design it a little bit lower. So I'm hoping it doesn't eclipse too much over that. I do understand where inflation is and what tariffs have done to the market. So that is going to impact the type of materials, the design. There's going to be lots that go into those variables of how the price of a GMP is actually set. So we're going to have to do a lot of work during that.
All right. So we broke the mold with West Point High School. There were a lot of things that went into West Point High School that then we went back and we retrofitted all the other campuses. An example of that would be the turf football fields. We broke our first turf football field with West Point High School, and then we went back and gave everybody a turf football field. As you're looking at and knowing that the design's not finalized, but as you're looking at preliminary design features of this high school, what are some of those things that are going to raise the bar, where you're going to see something with this high school complex that we haven't seen in our other campuses, and is just going to raise that expectation of, is there any way we can get others to this same level?
That's hard. I think with the traditional schools that we currently have, I don't think we have the spaces or the area to make it kind of similar to what we're doing in the new school. The way it looks with the different elevations is just it's so different. It's unique.
Yeah, the non-traditional square rectangle buildings, you're not going to see hardly any of that. I think it's going to create a new perspective. We are hopefully integrating, and I know West Point did some of this. I hope we're taking it to the next levels, integrating some of our technology and our cameras and our other systems to create the most effective and efficient monitoring and creating safe, secure environments for our staff and our students. So I think that'll look a little bit different too. I know we've pushed with our architects to get more of a CPTED, crime prevention through environmental design aspect of the building. And so I think they're doing that as well. So the administration building, maybe the parking lot, the way things are rounded and curving and everything. I think if you're a student of looking at other schools and buildings and how they are, I think you'll come into this looking and saying, wow, this is really unique.
All right. So it's going to be one of a kind. It's going to break the mold. We won't be able to duplicate some of this stuff then.
Probably not. But we do incorporate, just because we're not taking the exact and coming, but for example, our special ed that was created over at West Point, our facility over there, we've already duplicated that, and we're building that at Tolleson Union High School right now. We've taken that same and working with our special ed department to get those same elements into this facility. So once we see something that works across our district, any other place, we're making sure that's getting fed to our architects to make sure that that's being replicated in this site, and then we're going above and beyond on that.
Now, one thing about a large construction project like this, and it's across industry, that whenever you see a large construction project, the other thing that comes along with it is more jobs. Let's start talking about, it's going to be some while before we get to hiring all these jobs, but how many jobs are we creating with this new high school? We started to think about facilities needs, transportation needs, obviously the teaching staff, the administrative staff. looking at our existing high schools, how many jobs we already have on those campuses? Like, what are your thoughts on like all of the needs that are going to be associated with this new project, and how many jobs we're going to be creating?
Well, I don't know about, and you even left off some of the construction jobs, the architects
Yes.
we've given jobs to, and so some of it creating. But when this school is built out, say in 5 years or now, you'll have probably in excess of 250 people that will be employed on that campus.
So yeah, at least 250. Then long-term jobs when we got all 4 grade levels there, and then like you pointed out during the construction phase, probably hundreds more who are actually working on this project and getting this project to come to life and come out of the ground.
Yeah, huge impact.
What are some major milestones that people can expect to see? So for those that are living in the area, and obviously, you know, they're going to notice the construction's going on. What are some major milestones that they'll be able to notice as they're going to pass this project?
I mean, once you see that freeway, you're going to be able to see our school off of that freeway. So it's going to be a good.
I think when we first break ground in November, December, I think you'll start seeing a lot of traffic in and around that site. And so from a milestone also, before you see it from the freeway, you'll just start seeing lots of activity happening in and around December that'll keep going all the way until August 27. So that's one big milestone I see.
And probably when you first go vertical, I mean, I don't know if we're using tilt-up construction, but first going vertical, I think that seems to bring life to a project when you're like, oh, well, that project's going vertical now. Like they're pretty far along.
The topping off, once we get the final roofs on everything and seeing how big it is going to be, I think that'll be a huge milestone as well. So yes, I agree. Going vertical, capping off or topping off the roof, that'll be great too.
All right, so let's talk about some stats here. Let's talk about capacity, boundary, maybe even square footage. I know designs aren't complete, but rough square footage. What are some of the key stats on this new high school?
Right now, I think we're looking at in excess of 300,000 square feet. So it'll be a pretty large facility. Host will be able to have a capacity of over 2,500 students, although we're only opening up with the freshman, sophomore, the first year. We have a lot of tremendous growth in the Southwest Valley. So you got new growth that is feeding it. We'll have open enrollment. So it is a nice, beautiful, innovative, unique looking school. So you'll probably attract some students just around neighboring districts to us as well. And then we'll see probably from Lower Buckeye South will probably be the boundaries, but we don't know exactly what's feeding. That's more transportation boundaries because we have open enrollment. So if we have space, anybody can show up. And then we'll open a grade a year. So as we go, the second year and the third year will be full with seniors. I'm trying to think of our demographic report to show how many kids would be in that at that time.
Might need to refresh that study.
Probably, yeah, it is 2 years old, so that we might need to look at that, and a lot has changed in the market since then, but it wouldn't surprise me if we were over 2,000 students by 2030.
Anything particular you guys are looking forward to with this new high school? I mean, obviously, I play my hand early and often. I'm looking forward to the covered football stadium, but anything about this project that is really exciting you that you're looking forward to seeing how that comes to life?
I think for me, just seeing the reaction of the students, and seeing it's not the regular traditional high school. I think it's going to be more inviting for the students, and I think a lot of them are going to be curious about wanting to attend our school.
I really like where we're at right now, the design feature, and so when we're bringing in teachers, whether they're at West Point or others, and they're giving us, hey, this is how I would change this. And to see that we're taking their input and then making changes. And since I've never built a high school before, this is interesting that we did. Our architects led a process on, I think it was called Photo Voice, where they grabbed students from a couple schools and had them taking pictures and what helps them feel more belonging, what they don't like or where they feel isolated. Incorporating all of those design elements and that input and then make it into our new high school, I think is a pretty amazing process. And so that's the part I'm liking the most right now.
Let's expand on that a little bit. So you mentioned Photo Voice, where the students can look at 5 different pictures of a classroom and say, yes, this looks like the best classroom for me. 5 different pictures of a collaboration area. This looks like the best one for me. What else is being done working with the architect to gather input to make sure that we build something that is reflective of everyone's voice? So you talked a little bit about some of the focus groups that they're going to do. What about else for community members? Like what other steps is the architect planning to bring in all those different aspects?
Well, so they're doing a lot. So one, we've already posted some surveys online, so we're collecting information from our community members, various pictures that they're able to give us feedback about, how each one makes them feel, which one makes them feel welcoming, flexible furniture. We've already done a couple of meetings with some staff, teachers, on some design elements, so it's really base level knowledge. And now flipping it around, we're going and setting up more, going into the regular classrooms, the core classrooms, the special ed classrooms. We're already set up all the meetings, so they'll be having those meetings in a couple weeks for a 2-week period of time. I think there's 7 different meetings, the 3 hours at a time. We're inviting a lot of people, getting the CTE voice, getting department's voice, maintenance voice, so that we can maintain it the most efficiently and effectively. Special ed, administration. So we've broken it up into a series of 7 different meetings with working with our architects to collect a lot of input of the people that are actually doing it now. And we have it scheduled throughout our district. I think it's at 4 or 5 different sites, collecting that and then inviting everybody so others can go too. So really, we're at a huge accumulation of a lot of data and input to help influence our architects going forward. And we've already toured West Point to try to pull with our architects. Here's some of the things we like. So they've done a kind of tour of some of the facilities that we really like, collecting input from the community, from our parents, from our students, and from our staff. It is really a huge accumulation of a lot of data and input.
So let's talk about some of the things that maybe are not as flashy for everyone, but you touched on, looking at the maintenance of this building after it's constructed. Gabe, to that effect, like, what are some of the design features you're looking for? And I know, like with HVAC, everybody wants the air to be cooled. They don't necessarily care as much how you're doing it, but you've got to care because you got to look at our maintenance costs. You got to look at your team maintaining that, servicing that equipment. What are some of the different things that you're looking at wanting to be included in this design?
I think for us right now, it's easy access for us. I mean, there were some areas in West Point that we had to change at the last minute where, especially with the HVAC, where our filter system, we had to traditionally, we like to prefer having the filter in the classroom. So it's easy for our guys just to go in and replace. We end up putting them back into the unit. So it's in the corridors are there. So it makes it a little bit more difficult to get in there to switch out the filters. Along with our shutoff valves, we want shutoff valves on every building to isolate. Those are the things that we're looking forward to. Even with the electrical, as far as our lighting system, for us, we just like something simple. To us, when you use more of the high tech, we have more issues with it. So just sticking with the basics on that, but still have the same look.
And so we've also had conversations about the ongoing cost to maintain the building. Mm-hmm. So how do we get more natural light so we don't need as much lighting in that sense? So really working with our architects to make sure they're taking as much of that as possible into consideration. And so I believe they're listening to us. We hope there's no casualties of it. We could save, $100,000 by making his life forever harder. We don't want to do that kind of stuff. Really, hopefully, that we stay the course and have long-term sustainability and most efficiently use of our property. And hopefully that's taken into consideration. That's what comes out.
Any predictive analytics features planned for this school? Like, for instance, like leak detection or to detect any issues with air conditioning not performing optimally? Like, are we trying to put in any equipment that would help with any of those efforts? Because it's not going to be an issue when the school's first built, but 20, 30 years from now, pipes get old. At some point, they start leaking. Like, any plans for that?
So I'll let Gabe answer that in a second. But one thing that he's working on, and I'm helping support him, and this is for all of our current facilities. We're getting a proposal right now to put ultrasonic sensors on all of our main inflow to every building, so that we could see if we're in off hours and we could set the times of when we're using, and if water is moving through it when it shouldn't be moving. it's going to send an email or a text message alert to our plant managers or our facilities team so that we could go and stop that, because water intrusion is the number one cost of our liability and claims for when we have something. And for some reason, every leak happens on a weekend. Does not happen during the week. I don't know how that happens that way. And our latest one that we had when we had it in a gym, I think it cost about $400,000. So putting in those sensors, those ultrasonic sensors, and connecting them to our network will have huge impact. And so, yes, we're working to do that at all of our sites. We're going to include that in our new school. But you could definitely talk about the HVAC as well.
Yeah, it allows us now to add all the infrastructure for us now at the beginning than us trying to retrofit our current high schools. But yeah, we can add in all the shutoff valves that are needed, along with any type of sensors that it can actually communicate to our new work order system with FMX to keep us up to date.
Our energy management system that it'll integrate with it so that we know when things are turning on, when they shouldn't be, how we could set our set points and make us the most efficiently possible. We could do all that on the front end, not try to come in and add that afterwards.
So when people see the final price tag, they should know that not all of it is just for the fancy look. There's a lot of features going into this building that investing now are going to save a lot of money in the long run on the operation and maintenance of these buildings.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's going to save two different types. It's going to save money, actual money, utility costs and other things. We're going to make it as efficient as possible. We'll also save it on the soft costs. So that simple example that Gabe gave on changing where the filters are doesn't sound that big a deal, but when you add 20, 30 minutes to change a filter instead of a quick little one, the amount of work that can be done with his team will be much more and will be more productive and effective. So there's soft costs and actual hard costs that we'll be saving with this facility.
All right, now let's get back to another exciting part, the partnership. So a couple miles away from our high school, Phoenix International Raceway, PIR, they promoted at their last race, asking all those in attendance to go ahead and give their feedback on possible names. I've heard Victory Lane, Finish Line, Drift something.
Desert Drift? Was it
Desert Drift, that's what it
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
Desert Drift, some colors, the yellow and blue. So PIR is excited about the partnership. We're excited about the partnership. What is that going to look like in terms of incorporating and recognizing some of that partnership in the design? What are some of the early ideas on how that can subtly play into the design? We saw with West Point, for those who aren't familiar, when they see the wing-shaped rooftops over there at West Point, that is actually honoring Luke Air Force Base. The name West Point, of course, a military name. We're hoping they go from West Point to West Point. But what can we look forward to with High School 8 in terms of recognition of the partnership?
Well, I think the courtyard where, say, West Point, you have a nice rectangle kind of courtyard. You're going to see more rounded. It's going to more look like
Racetrack?
Like a track.
a pit. I don't know what's in that. Not as
The
familiar
infield.
with it.
The
The
infield.
infield. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you. Sorry. Don't know all the racing terms and everything. So you're going to see lots of those rounded track, pit, infield kind of incorporated. I think I've asked our architects if we could have like 10 different Easter eggs hidden in, those little like a
that'd be
wheel.
wonderful.
Yeah, so that we can see if people can spot all the little like wheels or stuff like that. So I don't know if that's gonna make it to the final building or not, but we're trying to do it subtly, but also with a little bit of more acknowledgement of PR right there in that partnership.
All right. One of the other big things that have been coming up is sustainability. In regards to solar, I'm hearing solar glass. What are we looking at in terms of sustainability? What are some of the features we're thinking about putting in for sustainability?
I mean,
Anything and everything.
Yeah,
So
it's
we
gonna be-
want sustainability really is something we can control. It does cost a little capital on the front end, but we're looking to do a lot of solar. It could be over a stadium. It could be overall parking. We don't have design plans, so anything we say can be changed. But we're looking to lean into as much solar as possible. A lot of natural light. Have I heard somebody say we should have grass on the roof to help reduce the cost of the sun coming up there? I've heard that. I don't know if we're doing that.
Yeah.
We just sent Gabe up to water it.
Well, I don't mind watering it. It's mowing it.
Yeah.
So we're looking at sustainability from all different angles, how we could do as much we can to save future costs, so spend the capital up front to have long-term M&O savings.
All right. Anything else you guys want to leave for the listeners to let them know you should be excited about this? It's coming soon to your neighborhood.
It is going to be a very unique, innovative, and desirable location for people to go and teach and to learn. It'll be an amazing, safe, and secure environment that everybody's going to love.
I agree.
You agree?
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. No, I think it's going to be totally different with traditionally what our students see. I think it's going to be inviting. They're going to all want to be here. Like you said, it's going to be, one of the safest schools here. So excited.
I'm also looking forward to not spending about 8 hours a week on a project. So I'm looking forward when we open it that I'll have more free time to do other things.
There you go.
But it's going to be an amazing project.
And we appreciate you guys for coming on to the show and sharing information with our listeners, where we always aim to enlighten our parents and empower our students here on the Education Exchange. And we look forward to seeing you guys again next time.
And that's the end of our show. Thank you for listening. If you have questions, want more information, or would like to be a guest on the Education Exchange, please send us an email at podcast@tuhsd.org. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and tune in next week to the Education Exchange. You can catch all episodes on your favorite streaming devices or directly at www.tuhsd.org/podcast.